Rabbi Edward Treister did his undergraduate studies in modern languages at the University of Toronto and then went on to Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati, where he earned his master in Hebrew letters and received rabbinic ordination. He later earned a doctorate in education from the University of Houston and an honorary doctorate of divinity from HUC. Rabbi Treister served in both Canada and the US. He was a rabbi at Temple Rodef Shalom in Dollard des Armeaux in Montreal for 8 years, and later in Houston, Texas for 15 years as a rabbi at Congregation Beth Am and at Congregation Shaarei Tzedek. After earning his doctorate, he took the position of executive director at the Central Agency for Jewish Education in Louisville, Kentucky. He is taught as adjunct faculty at the University of Houston in education and classic Hebrew language. In 1996, he and his family acted on long-held aspirations and made aliyah to Israel. He continued as an educator teaching English and Jewish cultural studies in the Israeli secular high school system and served as English language instructor and course coordinator at the Open University. In addition, he served as occasional rabbi at the Masorti congregation in Kfar Saba. He has published numerous articles in the Central Conference of American Rabbi Journal on both liturgy and Chumash, and on his retirement, he returned to us in Toronto, where he continues to take classes at U of T, and you can find him usually in one of those rows over there, most Shabbats here at Holy Blossom, as our unofficial Candyman. Rabbi, it is our pleasure to invite you to teach us words of Torah.
Shabbat Shalom. I guess I don't have to tell you the Purim is coming. After a few months of real winter, Purim comes as a very welcome relief. Mishenichnas Adar marbim b'simcha. When the month of Adar comes in, joy increases. We've almost been counting the days. Last week was Rosh Chodesh Adar, the first of the month in which Purim falls, and today is Parshat Zachor, the Shabbat just before Purim. Soon, Chevra, we could do more with Purims in our life, as the song says, Halo rak pam b'shana avo lehitareach. It's too bad the Purim comes only once a year. Purim, as you know, is considered a minor holiday. Like Hanukkah, it has no basis in the Torah itself, and there are only 4 mitzvot connected to the holiday, all of them positive and no restrictions. The holiday is filled with noise and jumping around and frivolity of all sorts. It's really just a kid's holiday, made for silly fun. You really can't take Purim too seriously. And yet, there's always a rabbinic and yet. A midrash in Tanchuma says, Kol hamoadim atidim betelim v'yemei hapurim einam betelim leolam. All the holidays will be abolished in the Messianic age, but Purim will be celebrated and will never be abolished. Never be abolished. A minor holiday of shouting and screaming and making noise and stomping and gregors, and this is the holiday for Yemot HaMashiach, for the days of the Messiah. But there must be something in this holiday that is worthy of being the holiday of Yemot HaMashiach, of the days of the Messiah. And there must be something in the Megillah of Esther that speaks to the nature of this wished-for era. So what is there in this holiday of Purim? Manishtana, wrong holiday. All the major holidays speak of a past, a present, and the future. Pesach, for example, tells of our past enslavement and our liberation. And when we celebrate Pesach, we taste the bitterness of slavery with the maror, and we anticipate the sweetness of our liberation through the charoset. But even in our freedom and our Seder, we say, Hashta avdei, l'shana haba'ah b'nei chorin. This year, now, we are slaves. Next year, may we be free. Freedom is waiting to happen. And we still await L'Shana Haba'ah b'Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem. The same time frame applies to all the holidays. There is an event in the past, there is a reenactment in some fashion in the present, and there is an ultimate later or future that we're waiting to be realized. As for Purim, we have a then, when Haman's plot was foiled by Mordechai and Esther, and the rejoicing that followed. There is a now, the way we celebrate the holiday. And as for the later, it's a full-blown now, a celebration in present time of what will be future time. That future time is all Purim, Mashiach Zeit, the Messianic era. It's Purim writ large. Purim time is a foretaste, a forspice, if you will, of what that hoped-for world will be like. It is the hoped-for world, and in time to come, Purim will be the model for its celebration. And as to what characterizes that future world, the Megillah offers us a glimpse of what's to come. The Megillah, in fact, really tells two stories. The first part of the story is chapters 1 to 8. It is real world. In all of its variations, it's the real world history of the Jewish people. An anti-Semitic tyrant, Haman, rises to power and determines a very good day for destroying the Jewish people. That's the 13th of Adar. And by royal decree, the population of the entire empire, 127 provinces, is to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews in the kingdom and to confiscate the property. Unfortunately for the tyrant, the king's new bride is a Jew with the name of Esther, who risks her life to reveal her own Jewishness and to plead for her people. The king, on learning this, is infuriated, but for his own reasons, if you read the story carefully. He orders Haman to be hanged, appoints Esther's kinsman Mordechai as prime minister. They tried to kill us. God saved us. Let's eat. End of part 1. That's the story we tell our kids. The second part of the story, chapters 8 to 10, may or may not be true for the Jews of Persia, or anywhere else for that matter. It is not real world. It is hopeful world. It is the real world turned upside down, making the hoped-for world into a reality. It's Purim Zeit, projected as Mashiach Zeit, and is the hoped-for reality we celebrate in our Purim Day. One element of Mashiach Zeit, as the second half of the Megillah presents it, is the eradication of evil and of a people, our people, living in security and ease. Haman is hanged on the gallows he planned for Mordechai. A Jew is the new prime minister, but evil and danger continue to lurk. The edict to destroy the Jews on the 13th of Adar still stands. Now here's the experience of Mashiach Zeit. Esther reminds the king that the Jews are about to be attacked and destroyed. Good King Achashverosh says, sorry about that, but there's not much I can do about it. See, once a law is enacted, I can't take it back. Royal infallibility, you know. You, Mordechai, have the signet ring. Do what you want. So Mordechai thinks a minute. A light bulb flashes over his head, and he proposes a new law. If the anti-Semites are allowed to attack, I will enact a law that allows the Jews to defend themselves. Jews can defend themselves, and they do. On the 13th of Adar, the Jew haters are attacked by the tens of thousands, but to their surprise, they are met by armed Jews who fight back, killing those who would kill them. You see why this is a world on its head. the Jews have permission to defend themselves against those who would kill them. In real-world time, Jews would receive opprobriums and calls of outrage for killing their attacking enemies. Jews defending themselves is messianic. The peoples of the empire now gained some new respect and appreciation for Mordechai the Jew and his people. The Megillah text reports that many of the people of the land mityahadim, that is, they identified themselves as Jews. On the face of it, the text suggests that others in the kingdom gain a new appreciation of the Jews, that the values the Jews represent become the values they themselves adopt into their lives. That's the Megillah's description of Mashiach Zeit in the future. In Mashiach Zeit, evil is vanquished. People acknowledge the Jewish God as a universal sovereign with all that that implies. And the Jews are acknowledged as the people of value and of values. When we celebrate Purim Zeit, it's as if it's already happened. It's a fait accompli. There is a comparable version of that anticipated time. It's in the Aleinu prayer, the one that ends every Jewish worship service. You can find it in our prayer book on page 201 in the Shabbat morning service. Listen for the parallels between what the Megillah represents and the Aleinu prayer of our prayer book. We therefore place our hope in you, Adonai our God. Soon may we behold the glory of your power, banish idolatry from the earth, wipe away false gods, and perfect the world by your divine rule. Then all humanity will call upon your name, and even the wicked will turn toward you. All the inhabitants of the earth will come to know that to you alone every knee must bend, every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, Adonai our God, let them humble themselves to your glorious name, let them give honor. Then all will accept the yoke of your dominion, and you will reign over them soon and forever. For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory. By Yom Hahu, on that day, God shall be one, and God's name one. Now, is that not really what we Jews are really all about? To see the end of evil, the unity of humankind living under the sovereignty of the one God. After all the tikkun olam we do, this is the world tikkuned, fixed, as it should be. That's the revolutionary world the Megillah is enjoying in Purim Zeit, and what the Aleinu holds out for humankind in Mashiach Zeit. You would think, of course, that at such a time there will be great celebration. And of course, there is. There is great feasting, banquets of food, groaning boards of delicacies, wine in abundance to rejoice the human heart, enough to confuse the name of the villain with the name of the hero. And it's what we do on Purim Zeit. We celebrate with a Sudat Purim, a banquet, tasting Mashiach Zeit. And there is this as well in Purim Zeit. Matanot le'evyonim, gifts to the poor, and mishloach manot, love packages of food. The Megillah reports that Mordechai sent letters out to all the Jewish communities in the 127 provinces of the empire and told them to observe these days as Yemei Mishteh v'Simcha, Mishloach Manot Ish L'Rehu Matanot Levyonim, as days of feasting and joy, of sending food packages each to the other, and of gifts to the poor. This is a mighty, mighty recognition on the part of Mordechai. How is it possible to celebrate and feast when for some, survival takes precedence over celebration? How is it possible to dance when another writhes in hunger? Those without fixed and adequate shelter, those without clothing against the elements, those who line up at understocked food pantries on a regular basis, who go hungry themselves to sustain their children. It's simply not possible to celebrate, and it's morally irresponsible to allow it to happen. So let me put in a plug at this time for Holy Blossom's own effort at Matanot Levyonim to make our Purim site more complete with contributions of winter clothing and personal hygiene products in support of the Out of the Cold program. You can check the website for details. Tomorrow is the last day to bring it, so when you're coming for the program 10:30 tomorrow morning, bring your goodies. And make this part of your own Mishloach Manot and Matanot Le'evyonim as a worthy effort for you. Our holiday is Purim site because the poor are accounted for. Their needs are considered, and efforts are made in the words of the psalm, Mikimi mi'afaldal mi'ashpot yarim le'evyon, raising the poor from the dust, the destitute from the ash heap. Purim is a call to realize Mashiach Zeit in our own time. That first Purim was an eruption of joy, an explosion of madness out of disbelief that it in fact occurred. The world they knew was no more, and a new world came into being. Evil destroyed, poverty assuaged, hunger removed, ease and comfort celebrated, and none to make them afraid. It was a foretaste of Mashiach Zeit. LaYehudim hayta ora v'simcha v'sason v'ichar. The text says, for the Jews there was light and happiness, joy and honor. Their Purim Zeit then is a model for the Purim Zeit we make for ourselves now to celebrate this day and to taste the world yet to be. Ora v'simcha v'sason v'ikar. Ora, light, the light of God's presence. Simcha, happiness in sharing the moment with others. Sason, joy in our own personhood. V'ikar, honor due for being simply a human being, b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. That's the Mashiach Zeit we celebrate in Purim Zeit. Clearly not kid stuff. Kain yeh lanu. Thus may it be for us Jews, and for all of humankind. I wish you a freilichen Yontif, a Chag Sameach, a happy Purim, and a sweet Shabbat Shalom.